Good morning. Welcome to our Money Mindset Week. And today we have a really special conversation with my good friend Becky Shuttleworth, who has a wonderful dog sanctuary called Bellas Beaus. And Becky, you and I have known each other for what, 15 years maybe, I should think?
Yeah, it's got to be that, if not longer. Yeah,
Yeah.
crazy.
And lots of things have changed in that time. And Becky, you're now really, you channel canine consciousness, don't you? So tell us
Yes.
what that means.
So it's basically using connecting to consciousness, so connecting to your higher self, but through the dogs. Because a lot of us struggle getting anything through when we want to connect to our higher self, or we want to find our soul path, or we want to know our soul purpose, or anything like that. And a lot of us really struggle with that because we don't trust the things that are coming through, and we don't trust our own intuition. We talk ourselves out of things thinking it's words in our head. Whereas when we actually connect through the dogs, they're fully connected. They love unconditionally. They're compassionate. They vibrate high enough to be constantly connected. So by connecting through them, you can trust the information that's coming through, because it will come through in ways that you wouldn't necessarily bring it through. It will come through with a gut knowing. It will come through with visions. It will come through with feelings and sensations. And with physical, you can see the physical messages coming through as well with them. So it's a lot easier to connect and to receive messages that you can trust.
Right. And so how many dogs have you got there? Give us an idea of you. Tell us about you and dogs.
So I have 16 at the moment. We at our maximum we've had 23. All rescued, all dogs that have come from different backgrounds with behaviours or illnesses and health problems. All ones that basically wouldn't get taken on elsewhere, or were at risk of being put to sleep. So it's almost a case of last chance saloon here really for them. And I started off thinking I could rescue and rehabilitate, and I would foster for rescues thinking they could then rehome them once I'd sorted the dog's problems. But it never happened. That they've become my animals. They taught me everything. It was never the dog's problems. It was always our problems as humans. And the way they guided me and the directions they took me in. I mean, even down to becoming a behaviourist because I wanted to fix behaviour problems. Becoming an animal communicator because I wanted to understand what was going on for these dogs. They led me through meditations and breath work and journeying when I had depression. They pulled me out of the depths of depression. And it was all through behaviours and circumstances they brought to me. I looked for these modalities so that I could help them. But really, it led me down a path and helped me. And when you realise how closely your lives are interlinked with theirs and what they're actually doing for you, passing them on again just isn't really an option. So we're now down to 16. And yeah, I'm not planning on anymore at the moment.
Another one found you this week, didn't she?
Yes, yeah. We were at 15, and yeah, she's come in 5 days ago. So she's the one causing chaos in the background.
Wonderful, lovely. So we're in danger of having some barking going on, so let's dive in. So tell us what the dogs are telling you about money.
Now, you need to realise that the dogs are talking from a higher perspective. So they're talking from a soul level. They're not talking about this physical world. Okay. And it's really important to say that, because I know that when I say everything that they're bringing through, it's quite hard when you've got bills to pay and you've got mortgages and you've got, not enough money to spread through the month. It's quite hard to sit there and go, oh, that's easy for them to say. They don't have to worry about where they're going to buy their food. We do it all. They don't have to worry about the roof over their head. We pay for all of that. But you need to realise that this is higher perspective. If you took the physical world out of it and were living soul aligned, money isn't even in it. We don't have money at a soul level. We just don't. There is no money in consciousness. There is no money in the universe from that perspective. That's a physical thing that as humans, this is what they keep bringing through. As humans, we have created. You know, we started off swapping eggs and services and vegetables and things we grew and had around. And then we created money. And as we created money, we started to get greedy. Well, we were greedy before that. You know, there was always the people that wanted more and would steal and would take it and would hoard things. And that's what they always use the word hoard with money as well. You know, we say save and we say, you know, we want this much in the bank because we want to be safe, we want to be secure, we want to have enough. But they call it hoarding because they say all we want is more. And they say that comes from a level of wanting safety and security, but also on a physical level, it comes from a place of greed and control and status as well. You know, I mean, dogs don't care about all that. Dogs don't care if you're rich, you're poor, anything like that. They just care about how loving your heart is. You know, and whether you're following your soul path and whether you're making yourself a better human being. But on a money level, their biggest message is at a soul level and in consciousness in the universe, physical money doesn't exist. So we are so hung up on something as human beings that once we transition, doesn't matter. And we can think about that in the level of our homes, our cars, everything. It's a life we choose here on earth, a physical life we choose, and we want. I mean, again, a lot of it comes from safety and security, but a lot of it doesn't. You know, you go around the countryside and you're seeing these beautiful little bungalows demolished to make a great big mansion or something like that, and that's not from a place of safety and security. That's from a place of status and wanting a bigger house and wanting the grandness, if you like, of it all. I mean, you look at these manor houses that are derelict, you know, and you sit there and you think, how many people could that house?
Mm-hmm.
You know, how many people could be in that?
How many dogs could be in it?
I mean, how many dogs could be in it? But you know, from a point of view of just people, you know, how you could have those. And it would get so many homeless off the street, or do you know what I mean? Because they could have bedrooms each, and the amount of rooms in those places, but they're owned by somebody that doesn't want to give that up. And it's all a thing of this whole wanting more and wanting more money and wanting more. And the dogs take this back to the very start, where you know we were soul beings that could transition between different dimensions. And the physical dimension was just one of them. And we could come, and they say the same with time. They say time doesn't really exist either. That's a human-made thing. We've chosen it. But for this purpose, we will use time. Say we could come here for a couple of hours or half an hour or however long we wanted. We could experience it as a human. We could experience it as a dog. We could experience it as the muntjac that's just jumped into my garden, you know? And then we could pop out of that body and go back to another dimension or go back to universe or consciousness or go wherever we wanted, and we could dip in and out. But in the physical, as humans, we realised we could keep things or hoard things, as the dog said. So, I mean, I always get the image of like Adam and Eve with the apples, but from a point of view of we realised we could have an apple, but when we left this physical earth, we couldn't take that with us. So we had to leave it behind, and we didn't want to. And then we realised we could have 2 apples and 3 apples. And, oh, well, now I've got 2 apples, but you've only got 1. So I've got more than you. So that makes me better than you. Yeah. So this all came in. And it started, ego, greed, control, all started to come in. We started to steal from each other. We started to harm each other. And we started to vibrate at such a low level. We got trapped in these physical bodies and had to wait for the body to wear out before we could be released again. And at a soul level, we're not like it. But now we have to keep coming back to remedy the generations of damage we've done. You know, but when we get here, we're taken over by the physical again, by money, by the best house, the best car, the best job, the best partner, you know, all these things we're looking for outside of ourselves. And money is just one of them. But they're saying none of it exists at soul level. None of it exists in the consciousness. So we're arguing over things, and we're worrying, and it causes so much anxiety, money. And it's something that actually only exists here. And, you know, you just have to look around when the blackberries are on the bushes. You know, there is such an abundance of things in nature that could keep you going. You know, you don't necessarily need money to go and buy blackberries from a shop, or go and buy things to keep you alive. There is that abundance of things out there. You can grow your own. You could have a patch in your garden and grow your own vegetables and grow your own. I mean, if you want the chickens for the eggs, I've got chickens, I have eggs, you know, get some. You know, it gives a chicken a home, and you've got things and it's lovely, you know. But we don't think of it like that. We think, I need the money to go and buy.
So tell me, because you've got 16 dogs to feed, and we have conversations about this every now and again, don't we? You know, your mum, you have to provide food for 16 plus keep your lovely sanctuary going. How do you bring yourself in line with what your lovely spirit guides are telling you?
It's been a battle. I'm not going to lie. I have been the worst person for stressing about money. It has caused me more anxiety and depression in my life than anything else, I think. And it still happens now. I still have the beginning of the month comes, and the bills are going to come out, and it's, oh my God, I haven't got all the money for that, and where's that going to come from, and what am I going to do? I mean, my first thing is, I mean, I have a job and I go to work, and my first thing is, every week the dog food money gets paid. That is it. The dog food money gets paid. When Kev's wages come in, the rent gets paid. That's the roof over my head. That's the dog's fed. Okay. Now, from there on, I've found that it's best just not to stress about the rest of it. Okay. If you miss a payment and you miss a direct debit, it's not the end of the world.
We've been taught that it is, haven't we?
Yeah,
That
and
guilt
we
and
really
shame.
have. Yeah, and companies chasing you. You have the emails and the letters, and this has been missed and that's been missed, and make payment immediately. Debt collectors are going to be coming round, and the process takes so long. You have time to pay it. It hasn't got to be paid this week when the companies say it's due. And I've been very much one of those people where I've been like, I mean, I started off balancing out, right, well, this week I'll pay that, and next week I'll pay that, because I get weekly paid. And then it was a case of, oh, do you know what? I'll just pay double that next month. You know, my phone bill, they don't cut you off for 2 or 3 months. So I tend to pay other things, keep up with that, and then I usually have the money by then, because I trust that it's going to come and I trust it'll be paid. But if it's not, I'll skip the phone bill and I'll pay it. And I know, and this is the thing, it's always paid, and it never goes into a point where I'm cut off, or it's always paid and it's always there. It just might not be there when the company says they want that money.
Yeah. Like waiting for your dinner when mum's cooking it. Yeah. Yeah.
So it's about understanding. A lot of companies, if you actually speak to them, a lot of companies put you on a direct debit, but you don't have to be, because you've got these fees and everything when direct debits bounce. The only thing nothing actually now comes out of my bank on a direct debit anymore. Really? I get invoiced. So I get invoiced into my, you go into your online accounts, and there's an invoice there for what you owe. And there is a date on it for when you owe it by. But I now don't have direct debits come out, because I don't want the stress of, oh, that's going to bounce and that's going to go, and then they're going to try and take it in 3 days. No, I have my list of what I owe each month, and I pay it as and when the money comes in to pay it.
Right. Which is much more old school as well, isn't it? When
Yeah,
people had cash,
yeah,
you had your pots, didn't you?
yeah.
And it's about having conversations. I remember I had a problem with I was struggling to pay my mortgage a few
Mm.
years ago. I just was having a really challenging time, I think, with health and business. And I had a Canadian friend, and she just said to me, "Oh, I couldn't pay my mortgage this month, so I've made an agreement. I'm not paying it for 6 months or something like that." You're kidding. Can you do that thing?
Yeah,
And I had no idea that you could actually ring a company up as person to person,
yeah.
and they would say, "Can we help you out?"
I know.
And there is so much guilt, shame, fear around money. And for me, it goes back to Dickens.
Yeah,
It goes back to reading and hearing about debtors' prisons, the absolute shame when someone couldn't pay their bills.
yeah.
And it's heavily imprinted, particularly, you're an empath, you're a sensitive, so am I. We
Mm.
bear this stuff really hard, don't we? We
Yeah,
really feel it. And I think we also feel it for other people too.
yeah, yeah. I mean, the other thing is they've brought in, and yeah, it's been around for a long time, but credit ratings.
Mm.
And that's the other thing, because so if you don't pay it by the date it's due, oh, this is going to have, and it makes me laugh. They say, yeah, that's fine. I mean, I'm very lucky now. I mean, I've had these conversations with the companies, because most of them ask for a monthly direct debit. I get paid weekly. So for me, it's easier for me to break down what I owe every week and pay a bit a week when I get paid. Because I know for certain, if I've got it in my bank and I'm saving it for when that direct debit comes out, and then the dogs need a vet bill, or the dogs need something, that money that's sitting in that bank is going on that vet bill. It's not going on that direct debit that comes out, you know. Whereas if I'm paying it out every week to my bills, and I need a vet bill, I will then go, right, I'll pick up a few more hours at work, and I'll make the money for that vet bill, you know. Whereas obviously the other way around, it doesn't happen. It ends up being, right, well, I'll pay that next month. I'll just pay a bit extra next week, you know. So I tend to do it now where every week I pay a bit to the council tax, a bit to Sky, a bit to the phone bill, a bit to this, a bit, so that it's done weekly. I mean, don't get me wrong, the ones like the water that are £20 odd a month, that'll just get paid when it's due. You know, it's not a problem. But the bigger ones, I pay a bit a week now, so that and you don't really notice it going so much, because it's not a great big lump, like especially the council tax, sort of over £200 in one lump sum. It's
Yeah.
a lot. Whereas if you're paying it week over the weeks, it doesn't feel so bad.
Yeah. So the dogs have really helped you. I mean, I can remember you and me having a conversation one day. I can't remember. It's when you were thinking about the Bellas Beaus, wasn't it? The sanctuary. And I remember saying to you, "Have you asked the dogs about this?"
Mm.
And you went back and you tuned in, didn't you? And 20 minutes later, you'd got the answer, and
Yeah,
you launched your sanctuary. It was
yeah,
phenomenal. And so sometimes, do you think it is just about us? And I can remember you saying to me then, "I've been so stressed. I
yeah.
haven't talked to the dogs in a long time."
No, and we let physical stresses. I mean, even down to it's not just money. I mean, as I say, you miss a direct debit, or you miss a payment, and even if I miss an invoice payment, there's always that thing saying this could impact your credit score. You know,
Guilt, shame, shame.
what is a credit score? It's a number someone has given you
To control you.
to control you. And
Mm.
you know, and I just, when they come through now, I just laugh. I don't care. I don't care. You know, yeah, right. It would be lovely to have a mortgage in the future, but what would I rather do? Have a mortgage or have my dogs? You know, it's that thing. I would rather be rescuing the dogs than worrying about paying for a house.
And that is also a higher consciousness that
Mm.
you're now a big picture person, aren't you? Same as
Yes,
I am, aren't
yeah,
we've sensed such a massive shift in the world,
mm.
haven't we, of people's hearts opening,
Mm.
and a totally new way of reality coming in, haven't we? Which we know we're part of, aren't we? We're often the people who are talking about it and experiencing it before others are.
Mm.
And which is, and I know you've found it really challenging to share what you're hearing in the public domain, haven't you, for fear of criticism? And
it's purely because it is so, like, you say this stuff to people and it's like, well, yeah, but I need to eat. Yeah, but I need to pay my bills. Yeah, but I need to. And the idea of people missing a bill, and then that impacts my credit score, and that impacts this, and that impacts that. And, and I sit there and I think, me and Kev are very much of the same. The only reason we would want a house with a mortgage is for that safety and the security, because obviously we were renting for 18 years and then our landlord passed away and the house got sold and we had 15 dogs and were stressing about where we were going to live with them. So, but then there's no guarantee with a mortgage that you're going to be safe. It's never actually your house, until it's paid off. It's never your house. And I'm now 40. So I'm getting to a point where actually getting a mortgage is going to be tougher anyway, because I've got a lot less years to pay it. So it's one of those things again. And when I'm not having kids, I've got no interest in having kids.
you've already got a family.
I've already got a family. But, and there's this thing of when I die and I transition, the house isn't coming with me. Doesn't matter if I rent it or I've bought it and spent all my hard-earned money paying for a mortgage.
Yeah, so true.
It's not coming with me.
Yeah, my one of my dad's brothers died just before Christmas, and he was 92. And I went to see him in hospital, and he was lying in his bed. He knew I think by this time he'd actually got that he was dying, and he was worrying about money.
Mm-hmm.
The 2 days before he died, and oh my goodness, it was such a really, oh my god, just let go, come on. That conditioning of and these are wartime people. They grew up in rationing, they were evacuated, their dad died when they were 6, those uncles, and their mum did all sorts of jobs to pay for them for years. But they were always provided for. But that, I don't even want, it sounds judgmental, but that almost scarcity consciousness.
Yeah.
Huge generosity.
Yeah.
At the same time.
But it's because the rationing, I mean, it's not nice. I can't imagine, being at a point where I can't just go to the shop and buy a chocolate bar, But at the same time, as you say, they were provided for.
Yeah. Yeah.
They had food. They had what they needed. It was just on a scale of you can only have this much or you can only have this. And there is that scarcity, but it was conditioned with you think about people on a diet, okay, and you can only have this much and you can only eat this much and and they'll do it because they want to diet. But I've got a friend that's literally like taking it to the extreme, and he literally only eats certain portions and things like that. It's a form of rationing, but the conditioning behind it is so different because it's a healthy rationing as opposed to a wartime, this is happening because, and a fear-based rationing.
Yeah, and a guilt-based as well. If you took more than your share, oh my goodness, you were the worst person ever. Yeah. So let's come back to your doggies to wrap up. So what else would they love us to know?
But they know it's tough. They know it's hard. They know it's tough. And I sit. There are times when I've just sat here, looked them in the eyes, and said, "Yeah, but you haven't got to worry about where your food's coming from." And we have those conversations. But if you actually look at things from a higher perspective, the things you're stressing about, the things you're worrying about, even down to, and again, this is easy for me to say because I don't have kids and I don't want kids. And this is a big thing I say to Kev all the time, is if we have things, and if we have, the nice car and the nice house, well, not nice, but our own that we've bought and purchased that's ours, and if we won the lottery and had £10 million in the bank, okay, I'm not working my backside off to leave that money to my nieces and nephews. Okay, and that's what a lot of parents want. They want a future for their children, for their grandchildren. That they have that where the house will go to them, to their children and grandchildren, and that's absolutely fine if that's what you want to do and that's how you want to live your life and you want to provide for your family in that way. But you need to realise that it's not worth the stress. The dogs are very, very adamant on this. It is not worth the stress or the anxiety or the depression, other health ailments, because it's all held in the body and all felt. Everything that we have, from our leaky guts and our heart problems, it's all the stress and the anxiety that comes from feeling like we need to own our house and buy their best car and have the best job and have the most money. And it's all stuff that on a soul level, and once you transition from here, means absolutely nothing. So it's about living the life you want to live, not the life that society and the physical world tells you should live. And you go out there, and I mean, I've got an abundance of dogs. The love in this house is off the scale. And the fun and the play and I could sit and laugh. They make me laugh all day. But on another level, you go outside. You just have to walk outside. The sun's shining today. The grass is growing, and I mean, the birds are chirping. It's the daffodils are out. Like, you look around you, and it's such a wonderful, beautiful world. And we're sitting there stressing about whether we're going to pay, how we're going to pay our phone bill this month. We're missing so much.
Yeah, by not living in the moment, isn't it? And living in the past with other people's stuff they projected on us and all the stuff we're told we should be scared about. Yeah.
And the other thing that I just want to finish off with is, you don't realise the things you're missing out on while you're chasing that money. I mean, I could spend today sitting here. I've got a load of car parts on the side that I could be listing for work. Okay, but I'm not going to be doing that. I'm going to be sitting with my dogs, working on my own business.
Fantastic.
Which isn't earning me money today, but I would miss out on an amazing business if I just completely spent every hour trying to earn an hour's wage.
Just tell us what your business is then, and where people can find you, please.
So basically, I'm mainly on Facebook at the moment. So under Bellas Beaus. But I basically connect people back to their higher self, to soul consciousness, but through a connection with their dogs. So we start looking at life from a higher perspective and seeing where we misaligned and where we need to align on our soul path to live our desired life and live the life we want. And then things like money and the house and the car, they're going to come in because you're going to be manifesting that. But from a soul aligned place, not from a place of fear and control, and because society tells you that's what you should want.
Lovely. And you've written a book as well, haven't you?
Yes, Power of Dogs.
Okay,
let's book an oracle card. Yeah, I mean, that's I've sort of moved on from where that is now. Me and Sharon were actually talking about this the other day. I've sort of moved on from where that was, because that was when I first started working with the canine consciousness. And for me, that was a way to get people to we can connect with consciousness through our pendulums, through our oracle cards, through our psychic readings, through anything we want, any way we want. I just use the dogs. But we can connect any way we want to. So for me, the power of dogs is a way to start connecting with consciousness, working with the oracle cards and the book, and just starting to receive those messages like you would with oracle card sets. But then obviously for me, it's now moved on to actually the physical connection. And now, I mean, I very, very rarely, it's a very rare occasion. I mean, I still connect with them daily because they're here and they're physically giving me signs daily, like when Paddy bit my foot the other day to make me sit down and focus on what I needed to focus on. But a lot of the time now, the messages are just coming through. It's not a case of having to sit with the dogs anymore and say, right, come on, I need an answer to this.
Lovely. So someone can book a reading with you?
Yes, yeah, we can do. They're my canine coaching calls.
Fantastic. So, and do people have to have dogs to do that?
No, because we use my dogs. My dogs, it's about connecting to source, and my dogs are constantly connected, and we're all in consciousness. It's all just one. So all of our souls are up there, and all of our higher selves are up there, so we can connect and get the messages through, regardless.
Lovely. So give me some links, and I'll pop them in the notes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much for your time. Thank you, dogs, for their time. How many have you got around you at the moment? Can you show us any of them?
Oh, Eric thinks we're packing up because you said thank you, and he thinks it's a goodbye. There's my newbie.
Oh, hello. That's May, isn't it?
No, he's not coming up. He says, I'm not doing that. They're all just there.
Oh, lovely.
But I think there's just 3 left out there at the moment, so there's 12 in here.
Amazing.
No, 14 in. No, 13 in here because I've got 16 now, haven't I? Can't even keep up.
Wonderful. Maybe you could share a picture of you with them for me to pop on the YouTube. Definitely. Bless you. Thank you so much.
No, thank you.
I shall stop the recording now and we will share this.